In another development, the presidential pardon granted last week by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to 175 inmates and ex-convicts continues to generate public reaction. The clemency followed approval by the National Council of State, while among those pardoned by President Tinubu was Miriam Sanda, who had been sentenced to death in 2017 for killing her husband. The 37-year-old convict had spent 6 years and 8 months at Suleja Medium Security Custodial Center after being sentenced to death for culpable homicide. Her pardon sparked widespread criticism. In response, presidential spokesperson Bayo Ononuga said that Sanda's family pleaded for her release in the best interest of her 2 children, adding that the plea was also anchored on her good conduct in jail, her remorse, and her embracement of a new lifestyle, demonstrating her commitment.
This video is loaded. It is under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's constitutional right to grant clemency, to act under prerogative of mercy, to pardon and to forgive after due consideration by the Council of States. But there is something I want you to understand. That act, it should not be seen as an act to promote criminality. It should not be seen as an act to promote crime in the society. It should be seen as an act to protect and promote national interest. In this act of pardon that he carried out over 175 persons, I want you to pay attention. Just listen, understand it clearly. What happened is just a matter of who do you know, how much are you willing to pay, how much are you willing to offer. That's what happened. It was not carried out to protect or to promote national interest. It was carried out based on nepotistic, favoritistic decisions. But I want to say this thing clearly to any Igbo person, to anyone that calls himself an Igbo man or Igbo woman, that is still dragging his foot over the call and demand for release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Our people used to say, "Only iberibe amadu mgbe ekere nkokwa. Only iberibe amadu na bana egwode nkokwo ka na-ekia." Our people used to say that when you beat the brother of a coward, of a foolish person, he will always tell you his brother was at fault. You must be out of your mind as an Igbo person, as an Igbo governor, as an Igbo politician, as an Igbo elite, as an Igbo celebrity that is still dragging his feet. I must tell you, you should be ashamed of yourself. No matter whatever reason that you have that makes you to be supporting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention in DSS custody, after seeing everything that is playing out in Nigeria today, after seeing the way terrorists and bandits are being treated in Nigeria today, after seeing this very last presidential pardon that Tinubu granted to criminals, after seeing all that, and you still find the audacity to continue fighting or kicking against the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, go and ask your mother. Read my lips. Go and ask your mother, who is your father? Or else, go and ask your father, who is your mother? It's either the blood of Igbo. Igbo blood is not running in your vein. It's either you are not a real Igbo person or you are a slave onyeriri. That's what I want you to understand. You should be ashamed of yourself as a governor. Read my face, read my lips. I said, if you are an Igbo person that is still not aware of what is going on in Nigeria today, if you still don't read between the lines to understand, to interpret what the president is doing and what is going on in Nigeria, considering everything that is happening all around the Igbos in this space called Nigeria today, you will need it. Because from every angle, from every indication, from all we can see, it is crystal clear. There is a definite plan against all the Igbo people in Nigeria. If you don't know, know it today. I repeat, go and ask your mother, who is your father. Go and ask your father, who is your mother. Thank you so much. God bless you. Don't forget to share the video for other people to see it. God bless you.
In another development, the presidential pardon granted last week by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to 175 inmates and ex-convicts continues to generate public reaction. The clemency followed approval by the National Council of State, while among those pardoned by President Tinubu was Miriam Sanda, who had been sentenced to death In 2017, for killing her husband, the 37-year-old convict had spent 6 years and 8 months at Suleja Medium Security Custodial Center after being sentenced to death for culpable homicide. Her pardon sparked widespread criticism. In response, presidential spokesperson Bayo Ononuga said that Sanders' family pleaded for her release in the best interest of her 2 children, adding that the plea was also anchored on her good conduct in jail, her remorse, and her embracement of a new lifestyle, demonstrating her commitment to being a model prisoner. Sanders was arrested in November 2017 for stabbing her husband to death over alleged infidelity. She claimed her husband died after falling on a broken shisha pot during an argument. Rufai, when we took the story back in, I believe, when she was sentenced, it was heartbreaking to hear the circumstances that surrounded her death. And I'll take some reactions because the story has generated quite a few on social media, X, Instagram, and of course Facebook. And I'll take Obiora, who wrote, "You can call it mercy, or you can call it what it is. Another reminder of how uneven our system truly is. On paper, a pardon looks noble. A show of compassion, a second chance, the image of a just leader extending grace. But in a country where justice bends for the powerful, mercy stops feeling like principle and starts to look like privilege. Too many ordinary people are serving endless sentences for lesser crimes, forgotten in overcrowded prisons with no one speaking their names. They don't get presidential attention or public sympathy. They just fade into the system's silence. And then there's Nnamdi Kanu, 5 years in detention, dragged through endless court proceedings with no clear resolution and no political will to end it. The same government that can find compassion in one case somehow finds only punishment in his. That's not justice. That's selective morality. Rufai, we had Honorable Obia Agwocha on the morning show yesterday, and he, touched on this particular Twitter user's comment, the fact that, the only thing that Nnamdi Kanu is looking for is a release so that they could attend to his health. And, this sort of conversation of who gets pardon or not is, the sort of conversation I'd like us to have. I'll take another expose before I come to you. And this is from Awele, who wrote, "Was the family of the late Bill Yamin Bello, that's her husband, consulted and in agreement before his killer, Miriam Sanda, is being granted pardon?" That's the question. The reason for her pardon is vexatious. The late Bill Yamin had his life cruelly cut short. No opportunity to see his children grow up, and Miriam is free. And that's one of the conversations, that Miriam is free so that she can attend to her children. Your thoughts on the story, Rufai?
I like to talk with empirical
As
fact.
always, yes.
Presidential pardon, offense committed, October 2025. Drugs, 29.2%. Unlawful mining, 24%. Homicide, 13.5%. Fraud and corruption, 12.3%. Hijacking, 5.3%. Firearms, 2.3%. Robbery and theft, 2.3%. Human trafficking, 1.8%. You see, at this rate, let's all go mad together. Because if we have now become a nation where we pardon criminals that our institutions fought hard to convict, then President Tinubu, in your next pardon, I have some names for you. You must pardon Lawrence Omajakwa Anini. You must pardon Oyenusi, the criminal. You must pardon Shekau. Look at the joke Nigeria has become. You pardon all these people that have perpetrated heinous crimes, then you now have to drag the name of Herbert Macaulay in it to make it look legitimate. You now have to drag some of our founding fathers in it to make it, after you pardon all the criminals. Look at Farouk Lawan. There was a sting operation where the state security agencies, they were the ones that baited him with the bribe, the marked notes. He pardoned him. So what nation do we have? What nation, I ask, do we have? But in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, people have been speaking. Some Igbo, what is it called, top leaders came to Buhari last time to seek a peaceful resolution to the matter. No. Nnamdi Kanu is not being granted access to see doctors. This one, they're not even asking for pardon, access to see doctors. But all of a sudden, we are seeing all of this pardon flying around. So what lessons do we want for children in the generations yet unborn? A woman, we took the story here, planned the attack for good measure, also lacerated the husband's body. You say you talk to the woman's family before you pass. So the husband family, they have nothing. How would the husband family feel today?
And that's the right question.
See, the prerogative of mercy is expected that a president will be able to, dispense that prerogative reasonably. But as it is today, like somebody was saying today, I think they should be adding civil society so that we can circumvent the names brought forward. You see, our nation has just become a joke where anything happens. At this rate, we will start pardoning certificate forgers if they will not even give themselves pardon already. Right. So what kind of nation are we living in?